And we're going to get stuck into the internet and kids. And I'm joined in the studio with Paul Litherland. He was a police officer, spent the last 6 years of his policing career in tech crime, knows an awful lot about it, and is now devoting his efforts to helping young people in particular stay safe when it comes to online. And I am so glad you could join us today, Paul.
Hi, Julie-Anne. Lovely to chat to you.
Thank you, because I think it's an important discussion we need to have. I'm sure I'm going to be terrified by the end of it and I'll go home and disconnect the Wi-Fi. Can, can we talk first and foremost about the changes that are happening in technology and this world that we're in now, and why every single one of us needs to be very mindful when it comes to kids and tech?
Wow. So much of our online world now is shifting to information sharing, data collection, all that sort of stuff. It's a massive world, but in my environment is where most of the risk is coming in that I'm seeing is children are in online environments they never were 15 years ago, gaming environments, social media in massive numbers. So as a result of that, they're being targeted in higher numbers by people who may never have targeted them 15 years ago, scammers, predators and stuff like that. So,
And how old are we talking about when we say kids are now involved in this? How young are these kids when they're...
wow, I'm seeing kids now at younger and younger ages, 9, 10, 11 years of age, getting caught up in environments which were really only reserved for maybe 17, 18-year-olds 15 years ago. And we're talking stuff like sextortion, we're talking about online child exploitation, and even scamming. I mean, scamming in particular has just gone absolutely crazy online. So yeah, sadly, I just finished a primary school presentation at Applecross Primary, and the year fours are putting their hand up saying, yeah, I'm on this, I'm on that. So this is a really big issue.
And when they say they're on this and they're on that, do we know, like, I think most people listening to this would understand social media. So they know kids will have a Facebook account, maybe it's on TikTok, but are there sort of platforms that we should be aware of that maybe kids are drifting into, that you should just maybe have a discussion with your children to say,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the gaming environments now are massive. So, and that's anything from Roblox or Minecraft right up to Fortnite and even Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty, where there's always this interaction with other people online. We're also seeing children now pushing into areas, online video chats and stuff like that. And we talk regularly here at 6PR with about a site called Omegle. We'll have a chat about that no doubt in a moment. But these areas where kids are trying to push into for interaction, they're going in just assuming it's almost like the real world, but it's not. We're dealing with environments which are not designed appropriately for kids, but sadly they're opening the door.
But it's because, kids, they're gaming, and so you're in that, it feels like a safe environment. It's a game. And maybe when it was first developed, it was always, that was what it was intended for. It had a very decent purpose, can I say. And then as it is with most things, it just evolves in time, and people, and not so nice people, will find a way to infiltrate.
100%, Jules. And that's one of the biggest frustrations I find, and trying to get my balance right in regards to not coming out and bagging kids or telling them off or don't do this or don't do that. It's important to get that balance. But you're right. And so much of what I talk about with parents at a parent session is I sit on the fence. I try to be impartial as much as I can, because your kids will want to do this. Your kids will want to involve themselves in these environments. But sadly, so much of where they're playing, they're just not designed to protect kids. But more importantly, we're seeing them rush into environments where, you're right, they're in bedrooms or they're in games rooms, and they just assume, because they're comfortable in their home environment, that random they're talking to or stranger is not going to compromise their privacy, not going to compromise their safety. But so often we're seeing more and more of that trend occurring.
And what are kids doing in those situations? What kind of information are they sharing with someone that they really just don't know?
Well, in reality, 78% of Australian children at year 4, 5 and 6 level are chatting with randoms in gaming environments. Now, that alarms people. I see your eyebrows raising straight now. And
sheer terror across my face. Do you remember there was stranger danger? I remember 100%. That as a kid, right?
And this is exactly what I just said to the kids at the primary school I was just at. What have parents been saying to their children for centuries? But again, I try not to go, I get, and you're so right, all these environments in their infancy, in their baseline, are brilliant. the chances for a kid to have a chat with a random who's another 10-year-old kid across the other side of the planet and have a great, safe, genuine conversation is awesome. That's great.
Just really cool.
But it's all the other
10-year-olds.
junk that comes with it
Okay.
that we concern ourselves. And this is my worry, is the fact that these playgrounds aren't being designed with the right level of moderation, security and privacy. And that needs to change. If you go to the AFL MCG Grand Final and there's 110,000 people at the MCG, if we had one security guard, we wouldn't accept that. Facebook still has only 15,000 moderators. Okay, still not good enough. So we just got to change that culture.
Yeah, I feel like we do. And the side of this, and there will be people listening to this, I'm sure, to say, well, there's a responsibility here by parents. So your kids are going online, they're in your house. Parents should be able to, I don't know whether it's monitor them or be in control of this situation. How realistic is that? And have we moved into a world where it's actually just too difficult for any parent to kind of clamp down on?
Yeah, it is difficult, but if we start early, a walk before we run mentality, then it does get easier. By the time your kids get to 15, 16, we want to build a culture of appropriate use. So I share mobile phone contracts with parents, social media contracts. So get into a starting point. Okay, so give them an understanding to walk into these environments. It's not about no. We've got to give them that guidelines because we can't be with them every 5 seconds. We've got to give them those tools. So yes, I don't want to scare parents off, but I'll go, let's get to know our kids' world. Let's get to know, rather than go, no, you're not having that because I've heard this.
Yep.
Why do you want it? What will you be using it for? And we're going to have guidelines and rules.
And when you say a contract, what are you referring to there when you say a social media contract?
Simple rules. Okay, as an example, okay, if you've got a 13-year-old daughter or a 14-year-old daughter who wants to get on the Snapchat, we're going to set up a contract. So on your Snapchat account, you're only allowed to use it for certain times during the day. We never have a device in the bedroom. There's a rule for the contract. Okay, in the first 6 months of you using this app, you're only allowed to have 30 followers. If you behave yourself, after maybe 6 months, you can go up to 40. Okay, so we can build that culture. So by the time they get to, like I said, 15, 16, it's not such a battle. So it's trying to really enter their world and get them to understand where we're coming from. And I'll be honest, I mean, when I started at Tech Crime, my young fellow was only 9. I got home that week and said, sorry, buddy, off you go in the cupboard, okay, and you're never going on the internet. You can have the internet when you're 45, but I've changed that now because we've got to, this is their world.
But that is your instinct as a parent.
Of course it is.
You want to protect your kids and
Of
you
course.
see all of this negative things and you think, I just want to be able to protect my child. But you're saying the best way to protect them is to have these conversations.
Yes.
How early should you be having these conversations?
As early as you can. I mean, I throw that back to many parents going, with respect, you know your kid more than anyone on the planet. So you might be able to have a conversation with a 9 and 10-year-old that maybe another parent might not be able to have till 12 or 13. But when we talk about online harm, when we talk about risk, parents worry. Now, when we were kids, Jules, if we were off on our bikes, parents would go, don't talk to strangers. We never thought we were going to be sexually assaulted or abducted by aliens. We just thought, don't talk to strangers because there's idiots out there. So our kids still have that cognitive knowledge.
Right.
So, mate, I just don't want you going here or there. If you are interacting with strangers, I just want you to be guarded in regards to your information. If you feel concerned, get up off your bum and come to speak to us. We'll help you. So get those lines in place.
If you've got a question, you can join our conversation, or if you're terrified and you're running under the bed like I want to right now, that's totally okay. I'm talking to Paul Litherland. He's from Surf Online Safe. He is a cyber security expert trying to help kids be more safe online. If you want to join the conversation, 133 882. We'll take more of your calls when we come back. It felt easier back in the day. Has anyone got a number I can call to kill the internet? Please let me know. I'm joined with Paul Litherland from Surf Online Safe. We're trying to help people with strategies to keep kids safe when they're online because it's a nasty world out there, I've got to say. Michelle in Thornley, hello, have you got a question?
No, I've actually got a comment.
Oh, yeah?
Our children, we've got 14-year-old twins and they're very sensible. But, I mean, we never let them have home internet and stuff like that until they had to have it for school. That was in primary school. They're now in Year 9. My daughter chose as an elective cyber security. So I think cyber security should be a compulsory subject at schools they're introducing the technology and the computers, everything else that goes with it. So I think cybersecurity for children should be as common as maths, English and science, to give them the tools that they need to be able to judge.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you for calling in. I reckon you've got furious nodding you from Paul Litherland.
And that's such a great point, Michelle, because a lot of the time I don't just come out and talk about cyber safety as such. What I talk about is I give kids key examples of the crimes that I was involved in as a police officer at Tech Crime. So this is how it happens. This is how these offences occur. So you give them that real spark and interest, because our kids are techie, they want to learn that. So I want to start pushing education into Australia, where, with respect, I mean, incursion-based education is great, don't get me wrong, I've been doing that for 13 years, but to be able to get into a school and go, right, let's talk holistically about how this stuff works, how the vulnerabilities are occurring, and that's where I think we're going to see a really good shift. We worry about telling our kids stuff because we worry we're going to worry them, but
yes,
great call, really good point.
Thanks, Michelle. And I wanted to pick up something you said earlier, Paul. You said no devices in the bedroom. Why is that important?
Most of our kids will take risk in that privacy environment. Girls will take risk in bathrooms, mainly because most mums have a good relationship with their daughter. You can knock on a teen girl's bedroom door, and mum can walk in a couple of seconds later. Can't do that on a teenage boy's door. Knock the door, hour later, okay, Dad, and you can go in. So girls will take risk in bathrooms, and boys will take risk in bedrooms because there's that privacy. Now, straight away, parents will worry when I say risk. They're going, oh my God, they're being groomed by a predator. No, that could be something as simple as using an app you don't want her to use. That could be something as maybe her being bullied or her bullying. Could be her chatting with a boy that you might not want her to talk to about yet, talk to with yet. So yes, and again, worst case scenario, groomed by a predator, but taking the phones out of that environment just minimises risk so much more significantly, because kids stuff up when they are at their most vulnerable or when they believe they're at their most safe. And bedrooms and bathrooms usually give that.
So I was at an event recently, and it was a very senior executive for a mining company who then said to me, I was just having this discussion, it was nothing to do with cyber related, it was just about getting my daughter to brush her teeth. It was as simple as that, Paul, and it was about these toothbrush timers. So you can go to YouTube and you just put in 2-minute toothbrush timer, and it's genius. And I'll let her scroll through and she can pick her one. I don't care what it is, pick it up. But I sit there, it goes in the bathroom, and I leave the bathroom because, Paul, I sometimes just need 2 minutes so I can get the dishes done before I have to put her to bed. And then they said, no, you're not meant to do not have the phone in the bathroom. But the reason they said was because if my phone has been inadvertently hacked, or if I don't know what's happening, people can use the camera of my phone and I don't know about it. And my daughter is like when she's brushing her teeth, she does have her pajamas on, so I'm not too worried here. But is there logic in that?
There is a certain logic to that. But again, if a phone camera or a laptop camera can't be activated externally unless there's software on the device. So number one, someone would have had to have got hold of your daughter or your child's device in order to install that. So yes, when that camera comes on, it might be also streaming to a third party. Number one, that third party realistically, unless it's really high technology, would still have to be in a local area. So they're probably picking up on Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, or physically within the environment. So it's not a major concern. More importantly as well, if a camera comes on, you're going to be able to see it on the screen. Okay, as it would be a normal activation. So I get where they're coming from, but it's not as severe. But again...
So my toothbrush timer can stay.
Yeah, so 100%. So again, we can still... Like my boy, when he was 14, 15, started sneaking phone into bedrooms. So, okay, mate, you can go in the bedroom. We still never had phones after sleep time, of course, but the door stays open. Okay, if you've got a device in your bedroom, and that went into our rules. If your door is shut more than 3 times in a month, I wouldn't say a word. I'd just go and get my drill. Take his door off. Okay, so there you go. It's good fun. I only took his door off once. So yeah, he learned his lesson pretty quickly. So it was good.
Love it. If you're listening and you've ever taken your kid's door off the door, please let me know. 133 882. Feel free to join the conversation. Now, is it Omegle? Is that the... What's Omegle?
Omegle was a cam-to-cam video chat site. So don't need age verification. You just go to Omegle, click on cam, and you're now chatting with a random. Okay, one of the most reckless sites ever out there. I've spoken a number of times in the studio to Gary, even to late Howard Sattler, bless his soul, about these sorts of sites. So It was my biggest concern.
But this is just, in its simplicity, it is just connecting people who want to have a
100%.
chat. So
Just complete
I log
randoms.
on today, I go in and go, okay, I'm a little bit lonely, or
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever's going on in my life, and I'm just going to go
Yeah.
have a chat to some people.
100%. And that, again, the innocence in that and the infancy of that is awesome. You can chat with a random, and I remember when we were kids, right, the phone was attached to the wall, yeah? Okay, if you wanted to ring Germany, it'd cost you $12 a second, okay? So to have that ability to just chat with another kid across the planet would be awesome. But of course, it's all the other junk that comes with it. So Omegle was massive. I did a documentary last year with Todd Sampson, and 1 in 27 cams was an adult male with their gear off in front of the camera. 1 in 72 cams was an adult male who was grooming a child in order to meet them. In Omegle in 2013, one of my cases, a gentleman jumped on a plane in Sydney and came to Perth to meet Chloe, which was me, an undercover investigator, okay, at the Garden City Library. Now, when I contact the owner of Omegle, please help identify this offender, they don't care. So how does that exist in 2023? So luckily now, and one of the proudest, I don't want to sound negative here, Julie-Anne, but it's rare that I get positives. But I still love what I do, and it can be overwhelming at times. But Monday, Omegle was closed down, okay? Me and a number of people around the world are responsible for that because he didn't have the courage to defend users. He didn't have the courage to create his environment to protect people. Okay, so it's gone now, which is great. So at least that's now one playground that our kids aren't going to be caught up in. And that's what I'm proud of that. I'm so proud of that.
Amazing.
But again, just quickly, I'm going on a bit of a rant here. I apologise to your listeners. But he gets on his website and goes, oh, that's not fair. I've had to close the site because of all the do-gooders, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that, mate. Protect people. Protect users.
And can we have this discussion too? Because I know there will definitely be people thinking about you can't shut down every Omegle. Like you can't do it. It's impossible.
Just quickly, Chatterbait. Chatterbait is out there. Kazumba, okay, which is another cam to cam. Chatterbait. What could possibly go wrong, Jules? Okay, so Chat Roulette. So they're my next battles. They're your next battles.
So what conversations do we need to be having with our kids? So I guess there's the idea that you don't want them in spaces where they're just where they want to be, in private space to jump on something like that. So say we've got doors open or there's no phones in bedrooms or bathrooms. What's the next step? Should you be monitoring the sites that your kids go to?
We can block through modems, we can monitor through modems, we can monitor through softwares, Custodio, Alpact, Bark, great apps we can use as an assistance. But let's have conversations. Mate, if you do come across something on the internet that worries you, that upsets you, please get up off your bum and come and speak to me. I'll try my best not to go off my tree and lock you in a cupboard, but just talk to us, okay? Because if we can get that happening, kids are more likely when a serious issue occurs is to come and speak to you because you haven't responded in a way that's going to make them go, no, no, no. So, because our kids are still genuinely concerned about coming across something on the internet that is going to upset them. It's not as though they're out there actively looking for horrible stuff. The vast majority of our children, especially at 9, 10, 11, 12, will stumble across content. So, buddy, I'll never judge you. I love you.
Okay.
So come and speak to me, okay? I'll help you. I'll help you.
And so that's stumbling across the content. What about this other area? And can you talk to me about the trend here? It's sexting, sextortion, and it can sometimes be maybe it's people that they may know. What's happening too on the playground between kids? What are you seeing, and how do we navigate that world?
Sextortion is a really big concern for me. Sextortion is one of the highest rising crimes in the world today. So kids will go into gaming environments. They'll build trust and rapport with a particular offender who may be pretending to be a kid. And I'll give you a quick example. On Fortnite, which is a shooting game, cartoonish violence, not a major issue. You can buy V-Bucks, right? So V-Bucks will give you an opportunity to buy stuff in the game.
Yeah.
So
I've got nephews,
guns,
they love
all
it.
that sort of
They've
stuff.
asked me about V-Bucks,
okay.
Right?
Now, a scammer will create a fake account, engage with children. Oh, I'll send you some V-Bucks, okay, for free if you send me a funny photo. So a kid will go, funny photo of my face, here's 200 V-Bucks. That scammer then will go, no, I didn't mean your face, I meant your bum or your willy or whatever. All of a sudden now a kid gets caught up in that world, okay, get addicted to the game, get addicted to their V-Bucks, and now that offender will have 1,100, 1,700 photos and videos of that child. So that's how sextortion's really starting to engage and infiltrate the gaming world for juniors.
And for people listening to this who might be terrified like I am right at this moment in time, Paul, it's been an illuminating conversation. What am I supposed to do? What am I doing in that environment? Because I might not know that that's going on.
Yeah.
I'm assuming as a parent, and this child who's playing the game feels like it's perfectly innocent. They just want their 200
So talk
V-Bucks.
about, again, those conversations, mate. If anyone's asking you for private naughty photos, okay, if you wouldn't want Nana to see it, okay, don't post it. Again, come and talk to us. All right, we're never going to judge you. We're never going to bag you. Just come and have a conversation. Act on your instincts. If you feel unsafe, if you don't feel right, come and speak to us. Just like if a random walked up to you at a shopping centre and said, hi, what's your name? Where do you live? A child will straight away go into that defence mode. Mum, Dad, where are you? Help. Okay, but in the real online world, we're not doing that. So let's teach those lessons. Let's give those tools and understandings.
And what should you do if the images have been sent, or if you've got some sort of demand for money? What do you do in that
Okay,
situation?
never pay them. Contact me, contact the eSafety Commission, esafety.gov.au, and report the incident. They'll help remove content and they'll give advice regarding that as well. Don't panic, don't judge. There's nothing wrong with your kid if they get caught up in sending an intimate image or a nude or anything. There's nothing wrong with them. The internet gives them a chance to stuff up now. I never had that. You never had that. So the ability to stuff up now is so easy. We had rolls of film, didn't we, Julie-Anne? Okay. We had to take a roll of film to the chemist to get it developed.
Yeah.
Yet a kid can make an error of judgment like that. So don't panic. Let's just try to deal with it. Contact these organisations to help remove and then build that culture of understanding.
Well, thank you for your time, Paul, coming
Thank
in
you.
to help spread the message, and congratulations with Omegle. That's amazing work that you've
Good
done.
work. Thanks, mate, and all the best to your listeners. Thanks, guys. Bye.
That's Paul Litherland. You can find out more of what Paul does. You can look for Surf Online Safe on the internet, because we haven't actually found a way to kill that off today. I'll keep working on that. 133 882 if you want to join the conversation.